So we're going to start off with a bit of targeting work. So here we got Cadbury and he's targeting a piece of paper. It's a piece of yellow paper for no better reason than I had a piece of yellow paper. It could be white or whatever. The main thing is that it's an obvious target, and for this trick I want Cadbury to touch it with his nose. There's obviously paw targeting and other forms of targeting, but I want him to touch it with his nose. So at the moment, as you can see, he's getting it with his paw and his nose, but he is getting his nose first, though he's still tempted to use his paw. So this is the early stage, and I'm just getting him really interested and keen in the paper. Step 2, we're now looking at moving it on and improving it. So now I keep moving the piece of paper, I keep throwing it down different places. It's not always the same place, so he's got to get the idea if I follow it and I target it wherever it is. And again, it's his nose touching it, and it's a solid nose touch. There, that was a brilliant nose touch from Cadbury. And that is precisely what I want. I want him to, wherever the target is, I touch it with my nose. That's the basic principle of it, and then we can move it on once we've got this. So now we're going to put it on a door. And again, it's just teaching him that the target's now in a different place. And they can sometimes need a little bit of encouragement to start off with. Cadbury did, because it's in a different place. But very quickly they get the idea, well, it's the same target. I just go over there and I touch it with my nose. What I'm making sure of is that he touches it really solidly with his nose. I don't want him just looking at it, because ultimately he's got to use his nose to close the door. So if it's not a solid nose touch, he can't do that. Step 4, we're going to now add in the paper and make it a bit smaller. So as you can see, it doesn't look it, but it actually is half the size of the original target. This step, depending on your dog, takes different levels of time. So with Cadbury, I went from this step to straight having no target, because he could cope and adapt to that. Other dogs might prefer it if you made the target gradually smaller and smaller. Basically just keep halving it. And the same principle applies. He's still going up and knocking the door. And to be honest, he's getting to the stage now where he's touching the wood more than the target, and he's getting the idea. I just go up and I touch that piece of paper, and I'm touching the door. He's getting the idea in his head, I'm touching that door. And it's a solid touch again. As you can see, as the paper gets very, very wet. The important thing with the targeting is to keep it fun and keep it busy and active. So he's doing it repeatedly, he's getting the idea in his head, and he obviously has no worries doing that. So now I'm going to take the paper away. I'm doing this in the middle of the session because I want it already in his head of what he's doing. So he's not coming at it not sure what he's doing. He's got in his head, I've been going and touching that door. And the hope is that he'll go up there like he did just there, and he'll go, oh yeah, I get this, it's just the paper's missing. And as you can see straight away, he's experimenting. He did have a quick look to see what I'd done with the paper, but quite quickly he's figuring out that I just go up there and I keep touching the door, and it's just the same as if the paper was there. Once he's done this a few times, and even if it was just a look at the door when the target left, you can do that, just a look at the door, but then I want him to be hitting it solidly again. Step 5, we're opening the door for action. Depending on how sensitive your dog is, you might need to be careful on how much you open it. If they don't like hard bangs, they might get really spooked if the door was open a lot and it banged. You might want to soften the noise. Cadbury doesn't care. He likes the fact that it makes a great big noise. I don't ask him to fully close it. He doesn't need to, it just needs to go so it looks closed. But as you can see, he's grasped that. And the whole point of this stage of the exercise is to make sure that he's touching the door solidly and closing it the full way. So we're gradually getting opener and opener, and to the extent of what we can do within the room. And he's getting the idea that I have to push that door until it's fully shut. It's not just about touching the door, it's about closing the door. Now once you get into this stage, then really all you've got to do to move it on is this. You go around and you try it in different rooms and on different doors, and you should have it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial.